Hi everyone, Victor here. Today I wanna show this menu that I have created to use on my Space Explorer game. As I told you guys on the last video, I'm not relying on DOM elements or CSS or HTML in general. So I had to write my own functions for everything. And one of the challenges is I need to have cycle elements on the menu that I can cycle using a keyboard or the joypad controller. So if I press left, right in this case, if I press right, I need to select the first element that is immediately on my right. Same thing for left and for bottom, top. So I had to come up with a way to make this possible because the player expects if there's selectables element on the screen and if he press the control towards that element, it's because he wants to select that element. So how can we translate that into code? So I made a quick algorithm that I'm gonna show you guys here. As we can see, we can navigate properly just by pressing the keys. So let's start this drawing again. So on canvas we have our coordinate systems like this. On the top left you have 0 0 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. This is the x, this is the y. And over here on the bottom we have our max width and our max height of the screen. So let's suppose we have increments here. Here we got the position 10, x, 20 and 30. And I have 3 buttons. Let's just work with the x-axis for now. I have 3 buttons, one at 10 pixels, other one at 20 pixels and 30 pixels. So this one is selected, for instance. This one is selected and I want to be able to press the arrow to the right key and select this one. So how can we do that? We can, for instance, select the next element that is closest to us, right? So I need to measure the distance between these two and these two, these two and these two, and find out which one is closest to me. Okay, but that won't be the case if I was dealing with this one, because if I measure the distance between this and this, they both have the same distance, right? So all I did was to implement a sign distance. Like this one is the same distance from this one. So let's calculate that. I need to know my distance between me and this button right here. So he's at 30x and I'm 20x. So I'm gonna take my position and subtract its position. So I'm gonna have a negative value, right? And if I measure the distance from this button to this other button, I'm gonna have 20 minus 10 and we have a positive value, right? So we can use this information to create our algorithm. We just need to select the element that is closest to us, and if we go in left, we need the positive value, and if we're going right, we need the negative value. We can repeat this for the y-axis as well. We need to look at both axes. So let us see the code, how that works. So here I have a function. Let's just look at this function alone. So here I have a function called find next, where I need a position and some value. So I start my function saying that the next element is null, because I don't know if there's a next element, and the mean distance is infinity. So I'm gonna loop through every element on my menu, and first I'm gonna check if that element is selectable, because I have like text elements that are not selectable. I'm only interested in buttons or objects that are selectable. So if it's not selectable, or if it's myself, okay, like the current element is me, because let's go back, the current element is me, so I don't need to check the distance between me and myself. Okay, so I have this both conditions. If it's not selectable or it's me, you can continue the function. What I'm using here is early return, so I don't have code inside of if and if and if and if. So if using this technique, you can keep your code a little bit more clean. So next I find the distance between that element and myself. I'm using the Manhattan distance here, where I get the absolute values of axis of that element and myself, and I add to the difference between the y position. Okay, so in order for me to check now, I need to see if that distance it's less than the mean distance. When we start, the mean distance is infinite, so the next element will be less. So that become my next mean distance. So I found an element that is closer to me, but I also need to see if the subtraction of the position of that element it's equal this value that I'm passing. Let me show you guys how this works. Here it is. So if I'm this is the code for the arrow left key. 37 is left, 38 is up, 39 is right, 40 is bottom. So if I'm pressing left, I want to check the x-axis to see if the next element is a positive one. If I'm going right, I need to check the x-axis to see if it's a negative value, right? Just like we did over here. I don't know if I can. Yes, we need to check. So if that element over here, I need to check if I subtract the x position of the next element and my x position is a positive value. If it is, okay, I just found the next element who has the mean distance, the minimum distance, and it's on my left. So I do this for the x-axis, to the left, and I repeat that to the right. Okay, and for the y-axis I do this to top and to the bottom. It's a simple and quick algorithm, but it's working perfect for what I needed to do. Let me change these buttons. Let me pass it here so we can test it with another cases. Yes, let me see. From 1 I can go to 6 if I press right. I can go back to 1 if I press left. I can go to 2 if I press bottom, or 7 right, down, 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 left, up, 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 right. Yeah, it's working. Thank you guys. See you again.